Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today, we got a pretty special one I'm pretty damn excited about from the Brewing Projekt up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And I can tell you right now, the Brewing Projekt makes some of my favorite beers out there. I've had some really fantastic stuff from them when it comes to fruited sours, stouts, Gose style ales, and all that kind of stuff. And today, we got another fruited Gose style ale from them called the Applocalypse. It's a fruited Gose made with apple, vanilla, granola, sea salt, and cinnamon, coming in at a 5% ABV, which sounds absolutely delicious. Of course, Goses are very interesting styles of beer. Of course, they have a little more of a bubbly effervescence to them, not like your heavily fruited sours, where they're more like a creamy kind of smoothie kind of thing. They've a lot of the times used the addition of sea salt to add kind of a bite to it. So there's decent amount of carbonation coming through it. A lot of just great, effervescent flavors and all that kind of stuff through it. But yeah, I'm super excited. I don't think I've ever had a beer from the Brewing Projekt that I have not enjoyed. So I think this is going to be probably up on the list of another one that I'm going to really like. Plus this can art just looks badass. Trying to say the Applocalypse part of it is a little bit of like a tongue twister, but I think it's a nice play on words. So yeah, 5% ABV, fruited Gose. This kind of reminds me of what I'd expect to see during the fall going into winter kind of situation. I think that's when I picked this one up, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I am super stoked to give this one a try. I think it's going to be super forward with the apple, cinnamon, granola kind of thing. It's just going to remind me of just kind of the kind of weather we're going through now, when it's not to the point where it's snowing and crazy like that yet, but still a lot of the leaves fell, so all that kind of stuff. So it reminds me of that fall going into winter kind of situation. So I think it's time for us to crack this thing open and see what we get on the nose with this one. I'm expecting a lot of effervescent, bright kind of notes coming through on the nose. Let's see what we got. Oh, whoa. That is interesting. So, a lot of apple up front. It was almost reminding me of a red apple. Definitely getting that granola, cinnamon kind of note to it. But there's definitely that sea salt bite to it that you get on the nose as well. This is going to be a pretty intense one, I think. Wow, this is going to be a very unique, and just by how it is on the nose, this is going to be interesting. But I think it's going to be pretty damn fantastic. Going to be drinking this out of my Whistle Punk Tulip glass this afternoon, so let's pour this thing, see if we get color. I'm expecting somewhere within a nice golden color to it. I don't know if there's going to be a murkiness or a haziness to it. But I think it's time for us to check it out and see what it's all about. Oh yeah, so it definitely has that more of an amber kind of gold color. Okay, so it definitely has a haze to it. Nice carbonation. A little bit of a head, which is nice. Going to help us get some of those aromas coming through. But look at that. That color looks absolutely fantastic. Almost reminds me of an apple cider, which is something they possibly could have added to this one as well. If they wanted to add some different things, more of a natural apple element, you could possibly add cider to it. I would recommend adding it to the point where it's done fermenting. So most likely, if they're trying to bring in those apple kind of elements, I think it would probably be towards when it's in the bright tank and all the kind of stuff when it's being carved. But yeah, this smells absolutely fantastic. Wow. For 5%, I feel like it's going to be that nice, easy drinking kind of style of beer. You don't have to worry about something being boozy, but I think this thing's going to be packed full of flavors. So let's give this guy a try and see what it's all about. So, cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. Ooh, that is wow. Wow. Right up front, you get a very nice, apple cidery kind of sweetness. It's very fresh and just a nice pungent in your face apple. You get those little hints of granola, reminds me of an apple granola for sure. But then that cinnamon note kind of comes through. It almost reminds me of apple cinnamon oatmeal kind of when it comes to some of those all around flavors that I get. The sea salt lets you know that it's still a Gose and everything like that. So definitely there's a bite in there that the sea salt always kind of brings in. Definitely a lot more creamier than I thought it would be. So not really crazy when it comes to carbonation and just having that bubbly kind of mouthfeel. There's actually a little bit more of a creaminess than I thought. But yeah, that is outstanding. Wow, very more predominant on sweetness than I thought too. So it's definitely Very, very sweet, almost decadent. And I won't say decadent, not like your kind of pastry stout kind of decadence, but this is just like the epitome of fall and just overall just a nice fruited beer that's pretty damn fantastic. If you're not a fan of more on the sweeter side of beers, like things you would see from possibly pastry stouts or anything like that, or possibly some like fruited sours have that kind of more desserty kind of note to it, you may not be a fan of this one. But with having that like strong in your face like sweet fresh apple with that kind of granola cinnamon kind of note coming through with that sea salt to add that, just cut away that sweetness, yeah, that this is an outstanding beer. Absolutely outstanding. I'm a really, really big fan of this one. Holy crap. So looking here at Untappd, let's see if we could try to find something that's similar to this one. And we got a couple different options here when it comes to different breweries on this similar beers list. So of course, I didn't know that the Brewing Projekt actually made a caramel Applocalypse. So they have a caramel version of this, having that caramel apple kind of style, which I think would just be unbelievable. So I kind of wish I had the caramel apple one too. But then we got one here showing that they have one here from Energy City showing us a similar beer. It's the Aloha Sunrise Sorbet IPA, which I wouldn't put that as similar. We got one here from Edward Teach Beer Co. called the Beach Goth. It's a funny name. I gotta see what this one's all about. Okay, so it's a Fruited Gose collaboration with Dissolver. Let's see, key lime. Let's see, tangerine. A little bit more of like the citrusy kind of notes in there. I would consider that one similar. We got one here from Bell's Brewery, which they call the Raspberry Flamingo Fruit Fight, which is, let's see, a bunch of raspberry puree in there. Nah, I wouldn't really consider this one similar at all, even though Bell's makes some pretty good beers. Then we got one here from Duck Pond Brewing called the Darkwing Deluxe. So none of these are really... See, this is such a specific kind of flavor you get with this one. It's hard to find something similar where it's going to get similar flavors. But let's look at my beer history. And maybe I've had some kind of like apple-esque fruited Gose. So let's look under fruited. Let's go. So we got... So with on Untappd, it says sour fruited Gose, which I'm not really getting much sour elements to it. I don't think... If there was lactobacillus in this one, it's probably very, very minor and everything, where it's not really crazy on the lactobacillus. But let's look under fruited Gose. I've only had 4 fruited Goses, so let's see here. Let's see. So we got the 10K Fruit Punch from Urban South. Cigar City makes some fruited Goses. KCBC, Kings County Brewers Collective. And then we got one here from Westbrook Brewing Company with the Key Lime Pie Gose. Of course, none of these I would really consider similar. These ones are more of like the fruit punchy kind of thing. What's this 5-hole goal one? Let's see. Doesn't really give you a description of what flavors you get. Just gotta talk about how it's a kind of a collaboration with like around the season of hockey and all that stuff like that. So to be honest here, anything when it comes to on my similar beers list or my beer history, I'm probably not going to choose any of these for being similar, just because the flavors in this one are so specific that trying to find something similar to this one is going to be very, very difficult, because you really don't see much of like an apple, granola, cinnamon kind of situation in a fruited Gose a lot. So the best way to find something similar to this one is probably going to either find the caramel apple version or just having this beer specifically. That's going to be your closest thing to it, and you'll be able to experience exactly what I'm experiencing right now, and it's amazing. Absolutely delicious. I'm a huge, huge fan of this one. There's so much going on with this beer. It's pretty intense. So now looking here, when it comes to the description, of course, it says it's a Gose style ale with apple, vanilla, granola, sea salt, and cinnamon, which I think is a great combination for a beer. That's just brings in a lot of flavor of the fall, brings in some nice kind of sweetness. Of course, apple is a great thing to have into a beer. Let's see what else we got here. Looking at what the average ratings in this stuff is, I don't think I had anybody on my friends list who checked this one in. Doesn't look like it, but like I stated before, it's a 5% ABV, so pretty low on the ABV scale. So you could definitely consider this beer sessionable. Probably have 2 or 3 of these and still be okay. And with only 518 ratings, this one has an average rating of 4.01 out of 5, which I'm surprised it's not higher. I'm definitely going to rate it a little bit, definitely more than a 4 on my end on Untappd. But I'm not 100% sure if this is actually available at the brewery right now. Let's see what they have, if they're showing anything over here. Let's look. So they're talking about different kind of styles. Let's look at the tap room. Maybe it shows what they have on tap right now. It doesn't look. Maybe the beer finder. Nope, that doesn't have anything on there. That's just showing the stores near you. Yeah, their website isn't really helping what's finding on a tap over there, but that's fine. You can stop over at the Brewing Projekt. They have a bunch of different unique styles of beer always available over there. So I always recommend the Brewing Projekt being, if you're up in like the northern Wisconsin area, the Brewing Projekt is probably a brewery that is like a must-see destination kind of thing, because they have so many great beers, so many different styles, and it's just, they're doing some really, really cool things over there. So with all that being said, let's start trying to see what other people are rating this guy, because I'm curious. So, of course, it looks like people are still drinking this between the past 2 days. Looks like it's on tap over at some places, which is really, really nice. So, this guy had it on tap. He gave it a 4 out of 5. This person gave it a 3.25. Purchased at the World of Beer Easton, which is like kind of a restaurant, shopping plaza, and like food kind of situation in Columbus, Ohio. I knocked on my glass when I thought I was going to tip it over. But knowing that there's Columbus, Ohio location that has it on tap, it's really nice. Of course, here's another check-in at the World of Beer Easton, which is a 4.5 out of 5. This person gave it a full 5 out of 5. Purchased at the JL Beers, which is, what's that? Let's see here. JL Beers in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's like a burger joint kind of situation. Let's see, another 5 out of 5. Purchased at the Sonolap Resort, which is like a ski hotel, so you definitely see some availability at like ski resorts in Colorado. Let's see, this guy purchased his off Tavor, gave it a 4.5 out of 5. We got a 4.25 out of 5. Purchased at the Creekside Village subdivision, which is in the Shelby Township in Michigan. Looks like he may have just brought that to a park and was walking down the street drinking one. I don't know what he's doing there. Let's see, we got another 4.25. Another 4.5, 4.25, 4.5, 4.25, 4.75. Purchased at the Get and Run, which is in Gilbert, Arizona. So yeah, this place is the stuff of all over the place when it comes to what people are drinking. You see locations in Michigan, Ohio, Arizona. From what I know of, the Brewing Projekt has pretty good distribution when it comes to a lot of their stuff. So you may be able to find stuff near you. Of course, if you're in Ohio, there's a good chance you'll be able to find some of their stuff there. If you're in Michigan, there's a good chance you'll be able to find some of their stuff. Of course, Wisconsin is, because they're brewed in Wisconsin. And I always know Arizona is on the list for getting some Brewing Projekt stuff. I know there's a couple places outside of Phoenix that have Brewing Projekt. But of course, here in Illinois as well, if you're in the northwest suburbs, there are a few stops around me specifically that carry the Brewing Projekt and a bunch of different stuff from them. So they're always a good option when it comes to just finding beer from the Midwest that has a really good availability. The Brewing Projekt has gotten to the point to where their distribution is pretty damn solid. So there's a good chance you may be able to get your hands on this somewhere. Or if you go to your local liquor store or bottle shop, there's most likely a distributor that they can order from to where they can get anything from the Brewing Projekt. That's how it's kind of gotten. So it's a really cool thing to see from them. But with all that being said, pretty damn good ratings on tap side of things. A lot of 4.25s, a lot of decent amount of 5s, between like 4s and the 5s. There's definitely a good amount. But let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings over here on Arn with this guy. First, let me pour some more into the glass. Take a little swig because it's delicious. And of course, first thing we're going to look at here is can art. And of course, the Brewing Projekt does use a lot of good detail with their can art. They definitely make something to where it's a lot of eye-catching stuff going on there. So you see, it looks like it's almost an apple that's been chewed up and everything going into the mash. That reminds me of the mash, like the grain bill after, or like the wort, as you would call it, with all the grain in there still. Not sure if that's just like granola or anything like that, but you see this like apple that's decaying, almost going into your mash boil kind of situation. And of course the font with Applocalypse. Just having that kind of like nice kind of font to it. Of course, the detail on this one is extraordinary. Just a weird, crazy looking zombie apple with eyes glowing, teeth going, and just decaying all over the place. So really, really nice touch. I love the blue in the background. I think it makes it something that's really eye-catching. And then, of course, you got your normal kind of stuff that the Brewing Projekt always does on the side of the labels, what it tells you the name of the beer, what ingredients are in it. Of course, you got an ABV right there. So yeah, the Brewing Projekt always has some really eye-catching can art for their stuff. So I'm always a really, really big fan of stuff that I see from them, just because they make it to the point to where if you walk past their stuff and you see it, it's kind of the situation where you have to stop and look at it. That's how in depth that they go with their can art. So I'm really, really a big fan of how they market and do all that kind of stuff with their beers. So with this one, easy 4.5 out of 5 for me. Definitely a big fan. So let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight over at the Brewing Projekt, would I get another one? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is like the beer of the season pretty much for me right now. We're not fully into the whole winter thing yet, even though we're getting kind of closer to Christmas. Of course, we still have those days where it kind of seems like it's fall. So this kind of personifies what the season is here right now, like apple, cinnamon, granola, almost having like apple cinnamon oatmeal kind of situation in there. Just absolutely fantastic. The sea salt adding like that nice little twist to it, which I think is always really, really cool. That when it comes to fruited goes, is that addition to sea salt can do so many different things to just brighten up flavors with that beer. So they're doing some pretty cool things, and I think this is an absolutely fantastic beer that I think everybody in chat needs to try. It's pretty outstanding. So with that being said, I think my final rating on this guy, easy. I'm going to give it a 9.25 out of 10. Really, really delicious. If you have the opportunity to get your hands on this Applocalypse from the Brewing Projekt, or if you have the opportunity to get your hands on the caramel Applocalypse, which I definitely want to see if I can find, go ahead and do so. I'm assuming the caramel one would be 20 times better, just because that addition to caramel in this would probably make it absolutely more decadent and just absolutely delicious. So if you have the opportunity to get your hands on this one, don't hesitate, just do it. And it's just absolutely delicious. So yeah, 9.25 out of 10 is where I'm going to leave this one. Absolutely amazing. But other than that, I think that is what I have for you guys today, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live in another review. I got reviews planned for you guys all weekend, so keep an eye out for those. Also, if you want to follow me on all my social media platforms, when it comes to my Instagram, you'll see what I'm be reviewing the day of and all that kind of stuff, different behind-the-scenes things I'm doing over at the brewery. We are now 1 week away from my beer release over at Fibs, and I'm super excited for people to come try this one. So if you're in the Chicagoland area and want to have an open schedule next Friday, come by Fibs, have a new beer releasing, and I'm really stoked to kind of see what people's thoughts are. And who knows, I might do something over here on the channel to kind of do like a show and tell kind of situation. I don't know. We'll get to that when we get to that road. But, of course, I'll be posting the day of when I'm at the brewery, the day of the release, doing some kind of just... Because I'll be hanging around, talking to people, just seeing what people's thoughts are, kind of discussing what this beer is all about and everything like that. So, who knows, maybe once in a while I'll be the one pouring it for you. We'll have to just wait and see. But I'm super excited about this beer that I'm going to be releasing next Friday. So I'm really hoping that it works out well. So if you're in the Chicagoland area, please come by. It would help. I would greatly appreciate it. But of course, if you want to follow me on all my other social media platforms, you got my Untapped, which is what I like to call pretty much the Facebook for beer drinkers, because pretty much what it is. It's an absolutely fantastic platform. If you're a fan of craft beer and you're not on Untapped yet, you're doing something wrong. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So, of course, if you want to shoot me a friend request, if you haven't yet already, link to my profile is down in the description below. But then, of course, I always talk about the best way to support me and help support this channel to keep it going is going to be to head over to the Patreon. It's going to be we have a small group of people, but it's a great group of people, in my opinion. And just, I do monthly 4-pack giveaways over there as well, so you have the opportunity to win Illinois exclusive craft beer. And we have a couple people in chat that have already gotten some giveaways from me already, so multiple ones to be exact. So there's a couple people that have enjoyed some Illinois exclusive craft beer from them. So if you want the opportunity to help support me and help support this channel, of course, head over to Patreon. I'll always be taking care of you guys as well with possibilities of winning some beer. Of course, you will have the first opportunity of win like merch, glassware, coasters, koozies, all the kinds of stuff when it becomes available. And it would just be a really great help just to help continue to grow this channel. So if you want to help do that, the Patreon is be the best way to do so. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you everybody so much for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I'm ending this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.